The iPhone 14 Pro is honestly a tempting device in 2024. This is the phone that has been my daily driver for almost 2 years now. It has my personal phone number in it as well. I have a lot of good things to say about this phone, but similarly, there's a lot of things about this phone which I don't like. We'll talk about it in today's video. Now, I want to first start off with why am I still using this phone in 2024? I genuinely did not see a need for upgrading my iPhone last year. This phone does pretty much everything that I needed to do from a production standpoint, to being used as a business asset to run this YouTube channel, to simply performing to my everyday personal needs, and for the things that matter to me the most in a smartphone. The iPhone 15 Pro upgrade last year just felt a little excessive, so I didn't end up upgrading, and I probably won't be upgrading to the 16 Pro either, but we'll talk about that in just a sec. And then I realized at 85% battery health, having to carry around a portable charger with me everywhere I go and not having a titanium finish, I would still totally buy this phone again. And you actually can. Apple still sells the iPhone 14 Pro as a refurbished device starting at $679 or $659 if you buy it through Apple Card. That's basically like 30% off the price of a brand new iPhone 16 Pro, and refurbished devices, for those who are unfamiliar, are basically like customer returns in which Apple keeps the internals the exact same, but the outer shell and the battery are replaced. So it's basically like a brand new phone, and you can also purchase Apple Care on top of that as well if you'd like. So what exactly can you expect in an iPhone 14 Pro if you were to buy one today? Well, to start, this is a 2-year-old device, which means certain hardware will not exist. This phone still has its legacy Lightning port, so you won't be able to charge it with a Type-C connector. And the original mute switch that we've seen on iPhone for years is still on this device. So for those who prefer having a physical switch as opposed to a button, it's still available on this device, which is kind of nice to see. I like being able to switch it on and off. And this one I'm not the biggest fan of, but the phone is still made out of stainless steel as opposed to titanium. In my opinion, it isn't the most comfortable phone to hold without a case. I do prefer having a case on this device. And if you're upgrading from an iPhone that came out before the iPhone 14 or 14 Pro, this phone also will not have a SIM card slot if you buy it here in the United States. That is something they got rid of with the iPhone 14 series when it first came out back in 2022, but you can usually activate this device using an eSIM, which is really easy to do, and you don't even have to like step into a carrier store or anything like that. So that's always nice to see. And of course, there's no action button on this device. This is one that might honestly be personal preference. Now, there's also going to be a lot of other hardware considerations when it comes to things like the camera and the battery. On average, I'm maybe getting about 7 to 8 hours a day with this phone right now, but I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys. The battery on this thing is not good. I'm currently at 85% battery health, and I can't get throughout my day without charging this phone at least once. It's the reason why I usually have to carry like a backup MagSafe wireless charger on hand, or I'll usually just throw it on the charger during the day. And I also keep on my always on display, which has definitely contributed to the battery degradation of this device. Now, in terms of the camera, I'm not going to go into too much detail with the comparison between this phone and the iPhone 15 Pro versus the 16 Pro, but I will say for a content creator like myself, this phone has been used as a camera many times to make videos just like these, and I have had zero issues when it came to using the camera. But one thing which I will point out, and this isn't just specific to the iPhone 14 Pro, but it's really annoying when the phone has to switch between its wide lens and the ultra wide lens, especially when you're filming things like an Instagram story. It can definitely become quite apparent. I also wanted to quickly touch on the software of this device. It is fully up to date and based on Apple's obsolescence timeline, as you may call it. The iPhone 14 Pro will likely be supported for the next 4 years or so, which basically brings the cost of owning this device down to like $14 a month, considering you use this for the entirety of the next 4 years. But let's be honest, that probably isn't a realistic scenario. But if you are someone who simply does not need to upgrade to the latest device, the 14 Pro from a cost perspective is actually a really great deal right now. This phone will not receive any Apple Intelligence software updates, and the hardware on this device simply cannot handle it. I mean, let's be real, it probably could, but Apple's not gonna let that happen. Depending on what Apple Intelligence means for you, I wouldn't consider this a deal breaker per se. It's a software feature that's only going to improve with time, and everyone's use case is going to be different. So for me personally, I just really don't think Apple Intelligence is worth spending the extra few $100. on the next iPhone, but I will say give it a year or two if you guys are kind of in that dilemma. And it's always going to be an option that'll be available in the future with future iPhones. And last but not least, Dynamic Island. So this phone will come with Dynamic Island, which is still being supported on the iPhone 16 Pro and pretty much every iPhone 16 model. It's cool. There's a lot of different ways in which you can interact with it. It's nothing too crazy. Again, this is all software, so these things should improve with time. So yeah, nice to always have a feature like that on this phone. Now, there is one downside to this phone, which I'm honestly not that happy about, and that is the blown out speaker. So last year, I was able to get the speaker of this phone replaced under warranty. Basically, it just sounded like the audio was like really rattled. This phone did not really do a good job playing high-pitched noises. No worries, Apple replaced it, but then the problem came back like about a year later, and this phone is no longer under warranty. So that is simply a defect that I'll have to live with. And this doesn't necessarily mean that your iPhone 14 Pro will have the same issue as well. This was definitely an isolated incident, but it's weird that it managed to come back even after Apple replaced it. But overall, and when I say this, taking all things into consideration, the fact that this is my daily iPhone, the phone that I use to text, call, browse social media, film YouTube videos and Instagram Reels, all that awesome stuff, this thing is powerful. It is a great phone. I would totally buy it again, although I probably won't when I upgrade, just because I do want to get something better in the future. But I can confidently say that this phone is going to be my daily driver for the foreseeable future. I don't know how long I'll continue using this phone for. I'm not gonna lie, like the iPhone 16, the standard iPhone 16, honestly looks really great. Like I love the way that it looks. I just wish it had a 120 Hertz display. If it did, I would probably upgrade to that device or downgrade. We'll say upgrade because it's like a generation newer. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this phone. Do you guys think it's a good deal? I'll be sure to have all the links to the refurbished iPhone 13 Pro down in the description box below. And fun fact, Apple still has the iPhone 13 Pro in their refurbished online store as well, which starts at $589. Although this device is currently out of stock, so I'm not sure when it'll be back in stock, but if you guys want to see a video on that in the future, be sure to comment that down below as well. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys on the next one.